Alpha Tile and Stone, tail of the tape. Christian Sanmartin versus Pete Lowe in a bout that we weren't quite sure was going to happen. Yeah, it happens that way sometimes. Christian Sanmartin from Intercept MMA didn't make weight, thought the fight was called off, decided to drive back to Chicago. The fight was on. It's a catchweight fight, and Christian Sanmartin had to turn around and come on back. So he is here, obviously, as they are checking him out. It's going to be Sanmartin versus Pete Lowe, and Pete Lowe, a guy that we were talking about before the fight tonight. As Chris Garrity said, this is a guy to keep an eye on. We're excited about this one. Sanmartin getting the final once over, as we will now take a look at Peter Lowe. Here's a guy who has been gaining in popularity since we first saw him fight just about a year and a half ago. Pete Lowe making his way up into the cage now with an amateur record of 4-3, the identical record of Christian Sanmartin, as Pete Lowe almost didn't have this fight. Again, Sanmartin had to turn around and come on back, but Pete Lowe is the one that we have identified. And again, it was Chris Garrity talking before the fight as a guy whose skills have been getting better and better, and a guy who's kind of that next wave, or at least that's what the chosen few is kind of counting on. Now that Alex Gilpin and Alex Easy Polizzi and Mark Lemminger and Dante Skiro, we'll see him here tonight, but these guys are moving on to bigger things. It seems like there needs to be the next wave, and Pete Lowe is one of those guys that might be it for Josh Sterry and the chosen few. Lowe is ready. We head up to the cage and Chris Garrity.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout features 3 rounds in our amateur flyweight division. Introducing first this man, fighting out of the Rob's Performance red corner. He weighed in at 128.2 pounds. He represents Intercept Mixed Martial Arts. In 7 amateur bouts, this man has 4 victories from Caracas, Venezuela. Ladies and gentlemen, Christian Sanmartin. His opponent, this man fighting out of the Coliseum Bar blue corner. He represents the chosen few gym and hails from right here in Madison, Wisconsin. In 7 bouts, he also has 4 victories, weighing in at 126 ready pounds, Pete Lowe.
One thing we have been impressed with Pete Lowe in the past is that he will come right at you. He is an aggressive fighter. We'll see if that works to his advantage against Sanmartin.
Oh, good inside leg kick to open things up. Slipped out of the way of the head kick. And Pete Lowe doing the right thing right away, circling to his left, trying to beat that outside hand and foot of his opponent. Get the superior angle for his strikes.
Sanmartin again, just fresh off of a drive up from Chicago, as he had to come on back for this fight. I don't know what that does for you as a fighter, if it helps you, hurts you, but I'm guessing if you're not here and you're not here for all the preliminary stuff, maybe that works against you, harder to get into a groove, isn't it?
I would think that car ride would wear you down.
Yeah, that's
driving
what I would
to
think,
and
yeah.
back from Chicago. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the kid's had 7 fights, so it's not like he's new to the business. I would say it would maybe affect the debut a little bit more than it would affect someone like him. But, you know, we'll see as this fight goes on round to round if it does weigh on him a little bit. Plus, he did come in overweight, so that means he might have done a little bit more to cut the weight to try and get there, because they did make him leave the weigh-ins and come back to try and make weight. So he put a little extra work in last night, too.
Pete Lowe looking good, as that kick did not connect to Sanmartin, as both guys again just feeling each other out here in the first minute and a half of round number 1.
Yeah, right now, one thing we do see them doing is kind of switching stances, trying to find a good angle, and it seems that Sanmartin's lefty and Lowe has done dominant orthodox So if I were them, as soon as I see one of them switch to the opposite stance, I'd be jumping on them because that means their defense is most likely weak there.
And now it looked like Lowe got poked in the left eye as Rob Madrigal stops the fight right here to check out that eye as, man, oh man, not sure if he caught a thumb to it or a finger, whatever had happened there, but Pete Lowe right now having trouble with that left eye.
You hate when this sort of stuff happens because it's never on purpose. Guys like to paw their hands out there, and then sometimes another fighter comes in a little bit with a strike, he'll get caught. It's one of the things that we've been trying to correct in this sport now for 25 years, trying to figure out a glove or something that's going to get rid of eye pokes. I just don't know if there is a correct answer because of the jiu-jitsu grappling aspect to this sport. So you can change the gloves enough to stop it, but it is always an unfortunate event because we've seen it change the course of many fights, including a big fight that just happened in one of the larger organizations, and it happened within the first, 20 seconds of the fight, where the guy couldn't even open his eye after it happened.
And if you want to stick with fingerless gloves, I mean, maybe you could get the leather down to the fingertips, but then the thumb's still open, so there's always going to be that danger. It's like if you're not going to have a true full glove, it's just one of those things that we'll just all have to be cognizant of and be careful.
Lowe still blinking noticeably, but he is going to give it a go here as San Martin coming in with a left hand. So Pete Lowe still struggling with that eye, but he is game here in round number 1.
Can you remember any times, Gerald, where you've actually accidentally eye poked fighters, then after the eye poked, started to use that kind of as a stratagem to go to that side because you knew maybe they weren't seeing properly?
I can't recall that I've ever poked someone in the eye, actually. I don't think I have. Which is impressive because I got a lot of fights. But I don't think I've ever poked anybody in the eye, at least not bad enough to have it stopped.
Okay.
I've definitely been poked in the eye, but, you know.
Well, let's look at it from that angle then. Did you notice that your opponent then was trying to come more from that side, that angle, because your eye was possibly damaged?
I mean, I was getting beat up so bad it didn't really make a difference, if we're being completely honest. So I can't really speak to that either.
Honesty from GM3 as round 1 comes to an end here as Peter Lowe's eye still causing him a little bit of consternation. We'll go to round number 2 after this on TVW. Action from round number 1 between Pete Lowe and Christian San Martin as Pete Lowe got poked in the eye, and I'm not sure if we're going to see it here or not, but this was about the time that it did happen. As we're, again, not sure if it was a finger, if it was a thumb, but something caught the left eye of Pete Lowe and has been bothering him since then. So all set for round number 2 is actually Lowe's eye looks a little bit better to start this second round right now as he is blinking much less.
Flashy head kick to start things out. So in a lot of this fight, it's going to be kind of a harder one to score because neither of them have landed anything super decisive, and it's a lot of jockeying for position and looking for that one big move. So I'd like to see one side maybe go for, like right there, go for a few more leg kicks, land a few more jabs, land some baseline stuff up, and then set up your spin attacks, your big head kicks, your lunging in with your big cross.
Yeah, and we usually see Pete Lowe more active than this. He has really been kind of slowed down. I'm not sure if it's just from the eye or if it's from the activity of San Martin, but Lowe just not throwing as much and kicking as much as we're used to seeing.
Well, and this might be a similar thing to the Bragg and Schulte fight, too. I mean, there's a definite size difference in these two fighters. And you did see San Martin came in overweight. I mean, he's just a bigger guy. You can obviously tell that's really not the weight he's going to keep fighting at because he's, with the way his body is set up now, he's just not going to make 125 anymore. He couldn't even make it for this round. But much, much bigger fighter than Pete Lowe.
Right. We see him use that size there to shuck off that takedown attempt. But I think another thing, too, is these guys have a very similar style. I mean, they're both kind of dancing around on the outside, like I said, looking for that one spot. Ooh, Pete Lowe's got a good cut on the side of his eye there.
Right on the side of the right eye. At least it's not over the eye, so it doesn't seem or appear that the blood is getting into the right eye of Pete Lowe. But he definitely notices that that cut is there. Blood coming out pretty good now as a bit of a goose egg forming on the right side of the face of Pete Lowe.
There you go. And again, I think Pete Lowe having that little bit of damage, that might sway the judges in their favor, and he seems to be backing up a little bit more this round. He's got to start working that jab in there, setting up some of those explosions inward to land some strikes.
And damage has become a big part of the scoring these days, and not only is it bleeding, but there's a nice little hematoma growing on that thing as the round goes on, too.
Final minute here in round number 2. Pete Lowe is behind as he is damaged. Both eyes basically have suffered some kind of damage here in the first 2 rounds, and Lowe just looking for any way to score on the bigger San Martin. Inside of 20 seconds now for the round, and Lowe shooting for a takedown and just about got it.
Almost.
The cage keeping San Martin up.
Good setup off a big strike.
And it was good strategy. He was going to try and steal the round off that takedown.
Rolling Thunder, that was awesome.
San Martin trying all kinds of acrobatic kicks here in the first 2 rounds. Tight round 2 will come back for the 3rd and final round right after this. You are watching The Chosen Few, and you are watching TVW. Checking out the final 20 seconds here of round number 2. Lowe going for the takedown, and a takedown there, do you think? I mean, could that have swayed the judges enough to give Lowe the round?
I'm not sure that securing that takedown would have done enough to give him the 2nd round. I think if he did a little bit of damage there, maybe. But I think San Martin had him backing up enough that round, and again, that damage factors into that. I think he's got the 2nd round for sure.
San Martin now ready to come out as he's the first off the stool here in round number 3. Pete Lowe, again, poked in the eye in the first round. That was his left eye. Now a goose egg and blood spurting out of the right eye in round number 2. It is just to the side of the right eye, so it's really not affecting the vision of Pete Lowe. As we go into round number 3, we'll see if Lowe has an answer for the bigger fighter in San Martin.
It's a good body kick. And that's something you might look for a little bit more when we see San Martin explode. And well, now they're getting, Pete Lowe has got a little more sense of urgency trying to exchange. And I think one thing that helped San Martin last round is he was attacking with his lead hand. So in your opposite stances like that, it's whoever's getting advantage with that lead hand. And now we see Lowe not being so conservative, and he's reaching out and trying to set his own stuff up more. Before he was kind of like having his hands back by his chin, like just like that, letting San Martin get all this uncontested distance on him, whereas San Martin was really probing him with that lead hand and being able to make space and determine where the fight was going to go.
Well, and even though the first 2 rounds weren't necessarily what you'd call a landslide for San Martin, what you'd got to think is in the Chosen Few corner, they're telling Lowe, you're down 2 rounds at this point, so you got to make something happen, whether you're going to be comfortable or not. And it looked like he was doing that with the takedown attempt, the strikes Gerald was mentioning. Fortunately, this is, I think, where the bigger, and the fact that he's fresher than I thought he'd be after the car rides, is really taking its toll on Lowe, because you can tell that there is a strength difference between the 2 fighters here.
San Martin imposing his will right now in round number 3 on Pete Lowe. Lowe trying to create some distance, finally does, as he's able to break away from San Martin. Lowe trying to come on in with a lead left, followed up with a right. Neither one of them scoring, as San Martin doing a good job defensively here in this fight as well.
Oh, it's a good idea to fake, but he just came up a little too high, a little too wild, and got caught. I'll say, I think that knee might have connected a little bit. That was a good reactive strike by San Martin. I see Lowe complaining about he got kneed in the mouth. It was intended to be a kick, so they're going to let that one go.
Yeah, San Martin definitely extended the leg all the way out. Now catches Lowe with the left as well, as Pete Lowe taking a lot of abuse here in round number 3 from Christian San Martin. Lowe's going to have to do something here as we're getting now down to the final 30 seconds of this fight. As Lowe's going to need a finish in our estimation. He finally grabs the leg of San Martin, pushes him up against the side of the cage, but San Martin too strong to go down.
Yeah, if I was in Lowe's corner for the takedown, he's going to have to wrap up those legs. It's going to be very hard to get a much bigger guy like that with an upper body takedown unless you've got a lot of experience doing something like that. Now 10 seconds left.
Defense too.
Yeah, now just swing. This 10 seconds left, go for it.
Lowe with a spinning kick. That did not connect. He needed that one. Didn't get it. We will go to the judges' scorecards, find out what they think right after this on TVW. Round 3 action here as San Martin continues his domination of Pete Lowe, just landing the more effective strikes. Lowe really struggled in this fight, Gerald, to mount any kind of an attack.
Yeah, I think once San Martin got that cut open on Pete Lowe, Lowe kind of faded just a hair, and San Martin got a little more confidence, started using his range a little bit better, and the strikes that were landed were on San Martin's side. And, you know, couple big ones where he caught Lowe off balance, and I wouldn't say dropped him, but hit him hard and enough to get him off balance, and I think that's going to be the real deciding factor. If it was my call, I'd probably be 29-28 San Martin.
San Martin draping himself in the flag of Venezuela. He hails from Caracas, Venezuela. As we're still waiting on the final decision to come up from Chris Garrity, so not sure what the delay is here. I know that San Martin felt pretty confident that he won as he was hoisted up by his corner right after the fight was over. As now Chris Garrity, I think, has the decision with him. And again, bit of a delay.
Here we go.
All right, as Chris Garrity heads up to the cage with our decision.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to an official decision, one more round of applause for a great flyweight fight. After 3 rounds of flyweight action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a split decision. Judge Winter scores the bout 29-28, Lowe. Judge Sabeda scores the bout 29-28, San Martin. Judge Wicker scores the bout 29-28 in favor of your winner by split decision, and fighting out of the red corner, Christian San Martin.
A split decision. We had it 29-28 San Martin, so that is pretty much what we expected. One judge did have Pete Lowe winning the fight. I'm not sure which 2 rounds he had him winning, but Lowe will drop his record to 4-4. San Martin improves to 5-3. All right, the amateur title is coming up next. We will see Devin Seitz defend his title here at Children's View Fighting Championship 17 on TVW.